Good morning to all traders, and I hope you all had a very nice weekend and a very nice week last week in trading. It is the 22nd of November today, Thursday Thanksgiving, Friday Black Friday, and we do have a very interesting week, of course. And I'm going to quickly go and analyze gold, Bitcoin, and also euro against the pound. On gold, we were looking we looked at maybe twice last week. We've been looking at this particular break over here, okay, and we were expecting a potential move to the upside, okay. But what we did also say is that since we've reached the 50 Fibonacci retracement, that if you remember as well, if we pull the Fibonacci expansion, also brings us to around the same level. This is a good cluster, and we're expecting prices to find some resistance there, right? Now, what do we expect to see? I would preferably want to see a flip over here at this level of area, which means that would really validate and confirm that we are now moving potentially to a short to medium term upside. Potentially, of course, we need to we have to go down from here if that's supposed to be a progressive move. We want to see prices stopping around 1820, 8018, also the 50 Fibonacci retracement over here, okay? But what we preferably want is to see prices, we want to see prices remain above 1813. That will help and support the outlook for more upside. Now, we haven't had any bearish signals since that top, right? And if you see even the daily, let me just go quickly back. We are here, yeah. We are currently experiencing some sort of pullback. Okay, down on the 4 hour though, we did have that signal last week, right? Bearish divergence, in 3 different places: RSI, MACD histogram, MACD momentum, yeah. And that is why we were expecting a move to the downside. Now, after we get to 1828, we need to reassess the markets, okay? But if we do manage to stay above that level and flip this resistance to a support, it's very likely that we're going to continue to 1876 and then go and meet this channel that I have drew here for you. Okay, because when we're moving up progressively, we do meet channels that have kind of a slope. And if we start moving up aggressively, what we are likely to do and see is break above that level and then come and meet that and make this a support and then continue higher. Okay, the acceleration versus the base. So for gold, I am looking at this week at least to find a local low over here around 1830. Okay, let's move quickly on BTC, which we haven't seen. BTC, well, if you see the daily as well, we've had divergence on the MACD, on the RSI, and the histogram as well. Okay, so this is a bearish signal, guys. We have managed to go past 23 Fibonacci Fibonacci retracement, sorry, and also looking to get lower down at the 38. However, what will really determine or somehow support the downside would be, and as you can see over here, I have pulled the trend line that was, well, that was a head and shoulders like a while ago, but it has been falsely identified over here, as you can see. But now what really is going on, we are seeing a potential flip of this to a support. Okay, if we manage to stay above that level, it's very likely to continue a little bit higher, but then again fall. Okay, so we might see a correction up to, let me just show you a level or two, up to perhaps the 62K, 6230 or so. Okay, but if we lose this trend line, it's very likely that we're going to go to 53, 59. Okay, and then maybe we're going to bounce in the short term at this 53K level, which is a very strong, it will probably be a very strong bounce level for the short term. And then if we do fail to get back above this trend line, again, it's very likely to continue lower down to 48, perhaps even 43, who knows, okay? Whether this is a progressive move, okay, to the upside, or even a sort of move that, is considered to be, because look at this huge signal over here, right? Considered to be a reversal to the downside. Either way, more downside looks likely to be the case, okay? And let me just go quickly also a little bit closer on the 4 hours and tell you this, and tell you that we're going to use the expansion tool. Well, that should be the one. So you've got a progressive move to the downside, because we do not really see yet that low being penetrated, and as long as we are below 62, guys, we remain bearish, okay? So if we use the Fibonacci expansion tool here, we see that we do have a few levels here to take into account. The 162 has not yet done, it's near 52, so we might do indeed see this turning into some progressive move down to 52. Maybe we're going to get a correction up to 61, 62, and then continue lower to around the 53K, perhaps even lower. So we do have a signal also here on the 4 hour that is popping up, which is important to take into account. But as I was saying before, it's important to look at both sides of the story, okay? And now we need to look at whether we see any signals to the upside. Well, we see some sort of bullish divergence from here and here, but you can understand that in between there is other signals that they are more important to look. So if we do lose that level, which is around 53.60 for now, then these signals are not going to be here any longer, which means it's going to make the case of Bitcoin a little bit more bearish. Okay, and finally EURGBP, because it still looks bearish, and the idea here is this. Well, we do see, of course, that the MACD is pretty unchanged, right? But even though on the daily we can still some signals, okay? We can see, well, first of all, you see that prices move down over here, and the MACD, the RSI is doing some sort of oscillations with lower lows being done, but not higher highs, if you can see here, right? So we do have some sort of distribution over here that is got us to deeper than the 90% correction if we take into account this low and this high, right? And what that means is that there is very, very good likelihood that this is going to get us back to that previous low. Even if we don't reach exactly there for a cent, it still looks that is very likely, okay? Now also, when momentum is like slowing down like this, and actually is a bit bearish as well, okay, and the histogram, one of the lines has already turned below zero, and we are on the daily, right? This is again a bearish sign. I do see a bit more room to the downside here on the RSI, okay? And now, of course, what we need to ensure is that, for the bearish case, right? We need to ensure that the lower time frames also show us something to support that case. Now you can see that I have drawn a channel over here, okay, showing where bears are taking prices. And what we also see, guys, is that we see a very nice signal here on the MACD on the other side that really did take effect and impact the markets. And we have broken to a first low before because of this signal. What else we can see as well is something that I was mentioning in Bitcoin as well. We see progressive move to the downside. Okay, when we see progressive moves to the downside, there is a very good likelihood that, this is going to continue lower. But because we are very, 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 very far from, from the top or from being invalidated, and that level would be, the invalidation would be near, 85.20, which is very far. What we can do is draw the Fibo over here, draw a Fibo, and look at potential levels for corrections. Okay, here we did have a pullback, but we didn't really, you see that we don't really get, if we don't get above 23, that still remains bearish. And then the other thing I want to mention is that here we don't see any signals that show that there might be a correction to the upside, apart from a tiny signal over here in the last few days. Okay, you can see that. So what am I expecting? I'm expecting a potential move to the upside, perhaps today and tomorrow. Okay, maybe we're gonna get up to 84.30 again, which is a bit doubtful for the moment, considering how weak euro is and how strong the pound is. But what could happen, guys, we could see this previous low acting as some sort of resistance. If we do see what I like to call the flip at 84, which is a very big level for now, we are going to continue lower down. But if we manage to indeed break 84, which we are very close to doing right now, then that might get us up to the previous high around 84, which is 84.30, which is around 30 pips away. Okay, but even if we do that, then we need to assess what's going to happen around the 23. And if we do break that level, next level, that will be the 84.62. And both scenarios are quite possible. But don't forget the medium term. The medium term looks bearish for the euro against the pound. So guys, this will be all for the day. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, subscribe, hit notification button so you don't miss another daily markets watch in partnership with Omega FX. We'll speak again, of course, tomorrow, and I'm going to identify another 3 very good opportunities for you. Take care and trade safe.